In this episode of Flea Market Rescue, we're going to take this Scottish looking cheap kind of tray and turn it into a beautiful farmhouse tray. We'll take this beautiful tin pail and also this vase from this very out-of-date arrangement and turn this into two beautiful topiaries. And I'm going to take this wooden arch window frame and I'm going to turn it into farmhouse gold. So you ready? Let's go ahead and do this. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and do that now and then ring the bell so that you get notified of any new videos that come out. I bought this Scottish looking cheap tray for $5.99 at the thrift store. Not my style, but I knew that we could definitely do something really cool with it. So I started by spray painting the whole thing white. So now using Annie Sloan paint in cocoa, we're going to go ahead and make this look like a wood grain pattern. I have some water in this old paint cup, and what I'm doing is dipping my brush into the cocoa, getting it a little wet, and we're going to go ahead and do like a wash. We're going to start by going back and forth with our brush in a horizontal pattern to make the wood grain. As you need more paint, just dip your brush into the paint and add a little water, and this will help it go back and forth easily and smooth. Just keep going back and forth and add paint as needed, along with a little bit of water. Now that we have that done, we're going to go around the whole sides and we're going to do those in horizontal patterns. I'm getting little bristles, so I'm just kind of trying to get them off of there because you don't want them to dry in your paint. Now we're going to let that dry, and while it's drying, we're going to go ahead and make our vinyl decal. Okay, so now we're going to go in and we're going to add our second layer of cocoa, and we're going to do it exactly how we did it before. See how it's looking darker already, but it still has that nice wood grain kind of look to it. You're just going to want to finish up the sides, and then we're going to let that dry. It looks pretty cool, right? So I just want to give you a little close-up just so you can see what it looks like as it's drying. Now that it's dry, we're going to take a little of this Annie Sloan clear wax and put that on. This is just going to seal in our paint job. Now we're just going to take our little farmhouse decal that we made, and we're just going to kind of figure out where it's going to look best. Then using a little transfer tape, you're going to go ahead and put it on there. And voila, it looks awesome. Now onto our second project, topiaries. Love topiaries. But I'm going to show you how to make them, and they're going to be really inexpensive. We're going to start with this really cute vase that I got from the thrift store. I think it was $4.99. It has very dusty, old looking greenery and flowers in it that we're going to rip out. The silk flowers and greenery, it just looks cheap. So we're going to start by ripping out these flowers. We're not saving any of this, so just rip out the greenery, everything. Now, although this vase is very cute, I want to make it more looking like stone. So we're going to use the Annie Sloan paint and graphite, and we're going to put a coat of that on this first. It doesn't have to be completely covered. We're just kind of doing this as a base, and then we're going to add layers of paint on top of this. If you don't have any Annie Sloan paint, I'm pretty sure you could do this with acrylic. You just want to get like a charcoal color. Let that dry. Now, using some of this Annie Sloan French linen that I have, we're just going to go ahead and layer some of that paint onto this graphite. If you notice, I'm not trying to cover this whole thing. I'm basically just putting it on there to give it some texture and make it look like stone. Having that graphite underneath really makes this color pop. I'm just checking to see if any more spots need some paint. You really want to go over a lot of the detail so that the detail will pop out, and then the crevices will be dark still. Doesn't that look cool? I just love this look. It looks rich. We're also going to use this tin. I don't think we need to do anything to it. And then we're going to use these topiary balls that I found at the thrift store, and we're going to go ahead and build beautiful topiaries with it. As you can see, I paid $3.99 for this larger one and then $2.99 for the two smaller ones. They're going to be perfect. I took a branch from outside and I trimmed off any kind of little limbs that were on there, so it'd be just one straight stick. Then I inserted it into that styrofoam base that we had in the vase. Make sure the stick is straight. Then I took one of the smaller topiary balls and I placed it on top of that stick. It was sort of like putting a wig on a mannequin, except I had to wiggle it a little. And then make any adjustments that you need to make sure that the stick is straight up and then that topiary ball looks nice and centered. And then we're going to glue that in place. Now we're going to take some of this moss that I got from the dollar store and we're going to put it all around inside the vase to just kind of give that a finished look. And quickly, I'm just going to show you how to make that double ball topiary. Using a styrofoam block that I got at the dollar store, we're going to go ahead and glue that into our vase. We're going to take a branch that we got outside and trim off any limbs so that we have one stick. We're going to insert the stick into the large topiary and push it through the top. Now we're going to go ahead and take the stick and push it into the vase in that styrofoam block that we glued in. Now we're going to add the smaller topiary to the top. Squish that on top and then make any adjustments that you need to. I did glue this in place, and I also glued some moss to the bottom. Now onto our third and final project. I bought this red arched window frame for $2.99 at the thrift store. It's cute, but I really think that we can make it a lot better. We're going to start by removing everything that's on this arch window. They got this all stapled in, so it's taken me a little time to get it off. Once I got everything off, I took it outside and I sprayed it flat black. Once it was dry, I took it inside and I added a little Crisco in different spots. Normally you would use Vaseline, but I didn't have any Vaseline and Crisco's oil, so it definitely would work. After adding the Crisco in spots, I went ahead and I painted this all white. You're probably like, what the heck is she doing? Well, the Crisco is going to act like a barrier, so the paint is not going to be able to stick to the certain areas. So we're just going to wipe that off, and it's going to give a nice, like, weathered kind of distressed look. And just let that dry a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm doing is just taking a paper towel and kind of wiping away those parts that had the Crisco on them. Now this is looking really good, but I'm going to go ahead and take a little sandpaper and just kind of rough it up just a little bit more, give it a little more of a distressed look. Now we're going to use some Annie Sloan French linen, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of layer some color onto this. See how I'm just dabbling in spots? I'm not completely covering the whole thing. We're just layering some color. I think that looks really good. Now we're going to take Cocoa by Annie Sloan, and we're going to do the same process. We're just going to dabble on some of that cocoa onto this arch window frame, and that's just going to complement this even more. I really love how this is looking. It looks so distressed, and but it just looked a little too brown to me, so I went back in and did some more French linen because that's more of a gray tone. And do you see how when you layer your colors, it just can give this old worldly look? Okay, so we're gonna make our little wreath now. So I bought some greenery at Hobby Lobby. Here's a few pieces of it. And then I have my little Sweet Annie that I rolled up into a little wreath. It smells so good. And I just think adding this greenery on top is just gonna really add to this. So I'm just snipping individual pieces of this greenery that we're going to add to the Sweet Annie. Using a hot glue gun, we're going to go ahead and just glue that in place, and then we're going to wrap the greenery around and glue that again in place, and we'll just keep working our way around the wreath. I love that. Now let's go ahead and make a bow. We're going to use this buffalo check ribbon to make that bow. Now we're going to cut the ends and then we're going to glue that onto our wreath. Now we're going to just glue that whole wreath onto this arch frame. Although this looked really good, I just felt like it just needed something more. So I got some cardstock and I glued it to the back of this, and I think that just sealed the deal. This was just a quick idea. However, you could have actually put some wood on the back of here and maybe did like some chalkboard paint on it. That would have been cute. But again, this was just, a quick idea, and I really loved how it came out. If you like this episode of Flea Market Rescue and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. I'm Kelly Sherry, and this has been Flea Market Rescue.